you. My name is Barbara Adams, and I'm the Manhattan Borough Director of the New York Urban League, and this is a joint venture with Convent Avenue Baptist Church. It is our first, and I hope you will have a grand evening. It is also my great pleasure to introduce these speakers to you this evening, and to add, it's just wonderful to see so many young people in the house. Dr. Clarke and Dr. Ben have asked that I not spend the entire evening introducing them. So instead, brief biographies have been prepared for your convenience, which you should have received by now. Before I introduce Dennis Walcott, the president of the New York Urban League, who will bring you greetings, there are several thank yous that are in order. First, I'd like to thank Reverend Grant, who is the minister of this church, who allowed us to come to him and take a chance on us this evening. As I said, this is our first venture. I'd like to thank Ron Cook, who is the program director. I'd like to especially thank him for his consistent enthusiasm, and for all his time. To the brothers Yusuf and Kamal, thank you for coming at a moment's notice. And to your colleague Melvin Simmons. This would not have been possible without my staff tolerating me over the last 2 days, especially Mark, who's not here, Laverne, Renita, Ernestine, and my support help, Alan and Luther. Dennis Walcott is, I'd like to say, is my mentor. We are both relatively new staff people, I think like 6 months for Dennis and maybe 4 for me. And it would not be right if we conducted this program this evening without readings from him. So I'd like to welcome Dennis and turn you over to him for a few minutes.
Good evening. I will be extremely brief. I just want to welcome all of you here, and this is one of our first symposiums, and this will be the first of many. And as we were planning this, one of the things that we talked about, we wanted to convey to everybody that Black history is not just in February. And we want to make sure that we have ongoing symposiums and discussions around our history, linking it to the past as well as what's happening with our future and our youth. So I just want to welcome all of you here and thank all of you for coming out. And I will turn the program back over to Barbara, who will introduce Dr. Clarke and Dr. Ben. Thank you very much.
Dr. John Henry Clarke will be our first speaker this evening. There will be a brief intermission, about 5 minutes, which will be followed by Dr. Ben, and then we'll open up the floor for questions. It's my great pleasure to turn you over to Dr. Clarke. Please give him a warm welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a lot to explain and little time to explain it, because both Dr. Ben and I are veteran classroom teachers. We're accustomed to bells, so churches are not strange to us, though we don't exactly belong to any. We know something about time. My topic that will be extended by Dr. Ben is a question. What will we tell our children about our fight for freedom? Extended again, what will we tell our children about our role in history? How we survived to this point. When people say we were slaves, what do we tell our children about our slavery in particular and slavery in general? What do we tell our children so they can stop turning their face away and want to crawl under the table when you mention our condition in the world, when will they stop blaming themselves? You have not explained it to them because you have not explained it to yourself. You have to know your oppressor and the nature of his oppression and what you did about it. At what point do we sit down and not argue about TV? At what time do we sit down and tell simple stories about our revolutionary heritage and get it across to our children? We have the longest revolutionary heritage of any people on the face of the earth. We have fought longer and harder and against great odds than any people on the face of the earth. Why do our children not know this? Because if they knew this, and if they loved themselves, none of them would put poison in their veins. If they knew this, they would know that a code of conduct is expected of them, that they cannot afford to live selfishly. Their conduct must reflect the best in a whole people. And when someone tried to lead them in ways not of their liking, they should have enough sense of their own selves on this earth to say, we are not a people who engage in things of that nature. We are not a people who demean ourselves in that way. But for them to know this, they have to know what kind of society produced them.